Back with you tonight on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. Let's stay with that story then in Mpumalanga. The Kruger Lowveld Chamber of Business and Tourism has revealed that tourism from the European market is at its peak from now until November, adding that the end of year festive season sees greater numbers of domestic tourists. Meanwhile, the South African National Parks confirmed that Numbi Gate has been identified as a hotspot for crime, with other incidents in the past. Joining us now to discuss the crime situation and its effects on those who earn their livelihood from the tourism sector in the area is John Meintjies, representative of the Nelspruit Joint Operational Committee. John, good to have you with us tonight on In Focus. Talk to me about the investment so far that has particularly been put in place in that Numbi Gate area to ensure security, and is it bearing any fruit?
Thank you very much, and good evening. Yes, a lot of organizations, naturally both of the organizations that you already mentioned, as well as the local community, the private security industry, and like I said, the communities, together with the support of SAPS, have gone through great lengths to try and safeguard and protect specifically not only the Numbi area, but all the areas, even the city where I'm based, Mbombela, for the simple reason that tourism is such a big part of our economy.
And when you look at the incident that has happened now, is this an isolated incident, or have you seen a number of other such incidents happening before?
I'm careful to say that it's an isolated incident, but I also think that it's not a pattern. It's not a common thing, mainly because of guys like the Tourism Board, organizations that have gone through great lengths to ensure safety in our specific areas, because we get such a lot of visitors from other parts of our country, but then mainly as well foreign countries.
Yeah. Conversations that I've been hearing so far and seeing happening online is that, for example, in many countries go to great lengths to ensure that they, one, protect tourists who come to their country, but two, citizens are well taught about the value of tourists coming to a country and what they bring. Do you think we are going far enough as far as that awareness is concerned, and as far as the investment that we are making in the safety of our tourists?
To be very honest, I think there's always room for improvement. I cannot speak for the rest of the country, but like I said, in our area, we really, there's a lot of corporate, where there's monetary compensation involved, organizations, companies, but as well as our communities, Nelspruit concerned citizens, Hector Spruit concerned citizens, the various CPFs, community policing forums with support of SAPS. In terms of making awareness, in this specific instance, I know for a fact that the local community, which is a very rural community there in that area on the Numbi Road, they are probably one of the most outraged and most upset role players in this whole thing, because they understand the value of tourists visiting the area and our areas.
Yeah. Give us a sense, somebody who might not really understand what could be the impact of this one incident in terms of the quantum of money that comes into Mpumalanga during this peak time because of the tourists.
Yeah, I think to be very honest, I must confess, I think I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm more on the operational side, through the private security companies, and naturally the civilian structures as well. So the monetary value, I'm not sure. The fact of the matter is loss of life, whether it's a tourist, whether it's a local, whether it's a child, female, male, that is irrelevant. That does not really matter that much.
Yeah.
What does matter is the fact that the incident took place and that we have to take all possible steps at the moment to prevent this. I've been focusing very hard over the last couple of day and a half of getting community involvement, and I can honestly say it's not a struggle. The communities are more than welcome, more than willing to get involved, to find the perpetrators, to share information, and to safeguard the areas. Whether it's a tourist or a resident of the community, safety is key. We all have got the constitutional right to stay safe.
Yeah. Without letting too much out, I'm sure, because there's still a lot of work that is being done on the ground. But has something like the 50,000 rands reward for information led to some credible leads that yourself as security and I suppose the police are following now on the ground?
Again, I'm not fully informed on that part of it. Naturally, it does help. It does motivate. Definitely, it makes a big impact. There's a lot of information coming through, and the struggle in a situation like this and any other incident of crime always is to verify what is actually accurate information and what is not. And I know for a fact that the local SAPS members, the provincial SAPS members, neighboring stations, everybody, it's all hands on deck. Like I said, private sector, volunteers, community, it's all hands on deck to assist in this process everywhere where we can, as quickly as possible, to not only arrest the perpetrators, but also looking at short-term safeguarding of the area, but as well as long-term safeguarding of the area and all our areas that is frequented by tourists from overseas as well as from other parts of our country.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's where I was going to come to next, to ask you, as far as the Joint Operational Committee and the work that you're doing, are you looking at maybe quickly wrapping up this investigation on this matter, but in the long term, are you thinking of changing strategy or maybe implementing more in terms of bringing safety and security to the area?
Yeah, if I can just quickly explain, the Nelspruit JOC is private security companies together with SAPS, other law enforcement role players, as well as civilian structures that got together last year, July, with the Rights and Looting and KZN and Gauteng. Because actions like that is on a mass scale, not one security company or one organization in our area is really geared to deal with something like that. So what we said is, let's get together, and from there, we've dealt with quite a few incidents. So if you ask me, are we looking at it? We have to define the roles very clearly. We do not interfere in the process with SAPs. That's their jobs. We're not going to take it over. They must do it. We've got full faith in them in following the process. And like I said, I'm fully, I know for a fact that they are all hands on deck and doing what they can. In terms of what we can do more, naturally, all the organizations are talking to each other. We've received quite a few requests at private security companies for more visibility, escorts. We're building information networks in the areas. We're looking also at alleviating poverty in the areas, not that in this specific case that was the motivation, but to make it overall a better place a better and safer place for everybody, including our foreign visitors.
John Meintjies, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. John Meintjies is representative of the Nelspruit Joint Operational Committee, saying that all hands are certainly on deck this time around, and there is a collaborative and cooperative kind of working relationship between themselves and the South African police.